What's up, everyone? In this video, we're going to go over our predictions for the market tomorrow and some important things you need to know going forward. So I just want to say tomorrow is probably going to be my favorite day of the entire week as we have some earnings coming out, specifically with DraftKings, and we have some key unemployment data. DraftKings, which is a stock that I own for the long term and I'm pretty bullish on for the long term, reports earnings before market open tomorrow. I'm hoping for a pop-up, obviously, but of course we all know how earnings is.
Yeah, Mike, it can honestly go either way. We've been seeing reports go crazy all across the board. And for DraftKings tomorrow, I'm really hoping for them to report some good revenue out of the betting sector, especially because we've seen the NFL season really get going over the past quarter. And we've also been seeing the NBA just start. So hopefully they start to report a bit of an uptick here in revenue heading into some of these winter months. I know that they do a lot better during the fourth quarter and then obviously the first quarter of the beginning of the year as those bigger sports come in. But I can't wait to see, Mike. It's going to be a big day. And talking about earnings, we had some pretty big stocks reporting tonight, like Square, StarBucks, and PayPal. And it looks like Square is flying up. Its counterpart PayPal is sinking, and Starbucks is moving up in a big way, but they did end up kind of falling back. But I think the biggest excitement tonight, Mike, is going to be Square, obviously. They have some really good numbers and some really good growth all across the board as they have their nice Investor Day article here. If you guys want to check that out to get all of the inside information there. But they have huge growth, Mike. Like I said, the biggest thing I saw was that their Cash App active users were at 18 million, up 40% from a year ago. That is some crazy growth on their Cash App card. And Mike, I know that Cash App, or most people think of Square as just, obviously that business where you have the swipe tool that goes into the bottom of your iPhone for transactions. But with them owning Cash App, that is a huge thing for them.
Absolutely. So Square is a company that's been growing quite a bit over the years. This year specifically has been really tough for Square, as they were trading at a very aggressive valuation over the past couple of years. They've been doing a lot lately, especially with Bitcoin and other crypto as well. Tom mentioned Cash App as well too, but yeah, Square's just really popping up in the after hours. They have a lot of upwards momentum, and yeah, they've been pretty oversold for some time now, anyways.
Yeah, they definitely have. And Mike, I know that we've actually been talking about Square quite a bit over the past couple months. And I know that we talked about it over the past few weeks in some of our videos. And whenever I'm looking here at Square, we bounce right off of that lower support again, right around $52. And we've bounced off of this level 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5 times all over the course of the past like 3 to 4 years. So keep this one on the radar. It's bouncing off support. It's moving back up. And we might be able to see a post-earnings continuation with this one, Mike, because this seems like some pretty good numbers, and we're starting to finally move off that support in a big way.
Good stuff. Another stock reported earnings today, Starbucks, and they've been trying to pop up, but it's nothing crazy. What's the story with this one?
Yeah, so Starbucks is a bit of a slower mover. I don't really expect this one to, run up 5, 10, 15% or anything like that, but it is still up quite a bit. They have pretty good numbers, especially in the United States right now. So they did see same store sales grow 11% across the United States, which was pretty big. And their loyalty program membership climbed 16%. So it climbed up to 28.7 million people, which is pretty respectable too. I will say though, they did see a slowdown in China as lockdowns weighed on them. They did end up missing some estimates as same-store sales fell 5% there. Obviously missing the estimate of 7.1%. So obviously that's just terrible, Mike. But it's still not good. It did beat that estimate, but obviously the stuff in China is weighing down on it. I wonder if that's kind of why they're falling back. But those numbers in the United States seem really good.
Yeah, so let's go back to the article for 1 second. There are some key things I want to talk about. The first thing being how net sales overall rose 3.3%. That's good, right? As we can see, global same-store sales increased 7%. And then, like you already said, Tom, In the United States, the same store sales grew by 11%. This is important because let's say you have a company like Starbucks or McDonald's or Walmart or some company that has like a bunch of locations like this. If their sales overall are growing by, let's say, 5% in the quarter, but if they opened up double the amount of locations, that's not a good thing. You want to see the overall sales per location actually growing, because that shows you, like, it gives you a better, more realistic outlook of how the business itself is doing. So that's what I really liked about Starbucks' report. Overall, it looks like it was a decent report. It wasn't anything like jaw-dropping to the extent where Starbucks should be up a ton, but overall, not bad.
Yeah, it's definitely not. And it's nice to see them moving up, especially in such a bloody market. I will say Starbucks is another stock that's right around support, Mike. They have some big supports here right around $82. You can see that we've gotten pretty close to there over the past few days too. So watch out for this one. I feel like it can be a pretty big one here post earnings. And obviously the other one, Mike, that we still have to talk about for earnings is PayPal, which is down a lot in after hours. And guys, if this is the daily chart. Look at the big gap that this is going to post tomorrow if we end up opening down around this $68 support. This is a brutal sell-off, Mike. Obviously, it's not anything compared to Block right now. Looks like they did actually raise their full year EPS, but then they lowered their revenue guidance. So not good there. And they did beat on EPS. So I don't know, Mike. It's pretty crazy with PayPal. I think we're going to have to wait to see the conference call on this one.
Yeah, we'll see. So looking at today, at the heat map today, we can see for the most part, it was a pretty mixed day overall. Some stocks did okay, some stocks didn't. It was just very mixed overall. Now we do have some somewhat important data going into tomorrow on the economic calendar. We can see tomorrow we have the unemployment rate and non-farm payrolls. Probably unemployment will start to tick up. That's just what happens in the current economic situation that we're in. But again, we can see that's kind of expected. The consensus estimate is at 3.6% unemployment, and the previous reading was at 3.5%. So unemployment will probably tick up a little bit, but it's nothing to be too worried about.
Yeah, and honestly, if unemployment does tick up, that might be a good thing, because Powell and the Feds might look at that and say, well, hey, unemployment's finally going in the wrong direction here. Well, in the right direction for the Feds, but the wrong direction for the economy. And obviously the Feds are almost trying to do that, which sounds a little bit strange, Mike, but obviously with inflation up so much, they kind of have to fight it. But yeah, that's going to be some important data. And I know next week we even have CPI data coming out on Thursday. So we even have more in store for the next week or so, too.
For sure. So what's cool about the situation we're currently in with the market is that there are opportunities to the upside and the downside, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about throughout the rest of the video. So one stock that's really been catching my eye lately is McDonald's. McDonald's has outperformed many other stocks over the past couple of weeks, and honestly, the past year. McDonald's has had a truly explosive uptrend starting in like the middle to beginning of October. Basically, they are now to the point where they are a little bit too overbought, and it looks like there's a giant resistance right around 275. I'm eyeing up McDonald's for a potential short play, whether that be with put options or just shorting the stock. Like I said, big resistance at 275, plus it's overbought. I wouldn't be surprised if it retested right around like 266 to 270 or 266 to like 267.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, Mike. Honestly, that's a pretty big area down there around 266 and 267. I would not be surprised if we were able, to kind of fall back down there. Like you said, it's very overextended, especially over the past month there. It was almost like McDonald's was helping fuel the Dow up there over that historical move it had ever since like the 1980s, I think it was, or 1976 even. But crazy uptrend lately, Mike, and I'm with you on waiting for a bit of a pullback here, especially on some of these overbought stocks. And one stock that I think is a little bit overbought is actually Oxy, Mike, which is an oil stock. Now, oil stocks are going crazy. I will say, though, Oxy also has a big support here right around $70. So I'll be waiting for a nice push below that maybe this week. And if we see that happen tomorrow or maybe even Monday or Tuesday, then I will run into some puts on this one. Like I said, very overextended, and big support there at 70 to watch for to the downside.
Sounds good. Another one I'm watching is KWEB. KWEB is basically an ETF for China stocks. And over the past week or so, the China stocks have actually been pretty strong, with the exception of the gap down last Monday, I believe. Besides that, they've been moving in a pretty good way to the upside. And what's cool about the China stocks is while they are volatile as can be, basically they do whatever they want. So if the market goes up or down, they sometimes they just move by themselves, and that's a good thing in this market. So I'm definitely watching KWEB for some upwards movement over the next couple days. I don't have a specific price target or anything like that, but these China stocks are definitely crazy, and a lot of times their movement can be profited off of.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that China stocks really love to gap up and gap down with all that China news that happens. So sometimes this one can be pretty good to swing if you get it going in the right direction. I do see a huge resistance here at $21 that it's been kind of consolidating at this week. So hopefully we can continue to push up and maybe finally break out through that. But my last stock, Mike, is actually FSLY or Fastly. I know we've been talking about a lot of stocks going down lately. So I'm going to throw a bit of an outlier in here. Fastly actually reported earnings and ended up closing up very high today, up 11% on a day where we did see a lot of redness throughout the market. So if they can continue up tomorrow, Mike, and break above this key resistance up here right around $9.10, I will look for some calls, maybe even some shares on this one. It's only $8 or $9 a share. So honestly, not even too expensive.
Awesome. All right, Tom, let's get right into it. The momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have Microsoft to the downside.
MSFT, terrible downtrend. And look at that move at the end of the day there. Go ahead and make them break down below 213.70, which is pretty close to where we're at. But it's getting bloody with Microsoft, Mike. This is a new yearly low.
Yeah, it's been really selling off. With the next one, we have LMT also to the downside, and this one is pretty similar to the McDonald's setup.
Yeah, it really is. Very overextended. Honestly, very similar movement, too. If they can break below support here at 480, I will look for a big push down.
All right, and then with the last one, we have GLD, and we need both directions.
GLD, yeah, very volatile. Oh, wow. Look at the way GLD ended up falling down this morning, but go ahead and make them break out above up above 152. If we do see a nice push up, that's a big resistance up there. So watch for that. If we do end up falling to the downside, maybe look for puts if we fall below 151.25.
All right, so we're watching GLD, LMT, and MSFT for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow, only if they break below the levels Tom listed. And then with the GLD setup, we also have that upside level as well, only if it breaks above the level Tom listed. But Tom, there's actually some interesting order flow that I saw today. Basically, I was doing a couple scans looking for some unusual options activity, and I came across a $975,000 options trade today on FXI. Basically, some whaler hedge fund put $975,000 into the FXI 23 strike call options that expire on February 17th of 2023. FXI has taken just a giant beating over the past year and especially over the past couple months. FXI also follows the China stocks. Basically, this play is very high risk, very high reward. China stocks are very oversold. Basically to me, the interpretation I have with this trade is the hedge fund or whale behind it basically looks at it like, all right, most likely I'm going to lose this $975,000. But if FXI does pop up, I will easily make a couple million off of it. So it's like a high risk, high reward play, most likely to lose, but if it does win, it'll most likely be a big winner. For those of you who don't know about options, basically the hedge fund is just betting that this stock is above $23 by February 17th.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely a possibility of that, Mike. Like we talked about earlier with Queb, these China stocks are extremely oversold right now, especially FXI. I mean, look at that high at 54 now, all the way down to 22. I've seen more stocks fall down this year percentage-wise, but for a big large cap ETF like this, that is definitely brutal, Mike. But yeah, watch it, guys. I think it could have a pretty good move. And That's really interesting, Mike. The 23 strike calls, that's actually not too far away. So that would make me think that they are buying them.
Exactly. It's like they're not that far out of the money. There's some decent time with them. China stocks are oversold. They're holding up just fine. A lot of times China stocks do whatever they want. So it's like it is a tempting play. Like I wouldn't say it's a bad play at all. It's just high risk, but it's okay to take high risk plays every now and then. As long as you open up the possibility for high reward. If someone gets in this trade and wants to take profits at 2%, then it's like there's a problem there. So overall, I like it. It's very interesting, and I will definitely keep my eyes on FXI over the next couple weeks and months for some upside movement.
Yeah, me too. And there's a big gap to fill here between like $23 and $23.50. So hopefully we can start to pop up and maybe fill that gap and hopefully go even higher. Because like we said, they're very oversold. And I know that there has been some bad news in China lately, obviously with lockdowns and stuff, but hopefully that stuff starts to get better here over the next couple of years. And I really hope it does.
You know it. So if you are looking for some short-term trades, check out the first link in the description and the comments down below. Our bot has been on fire. Today I called out the BABA 64 strike call options at $146 each, and these same call options went from $146 all the way up to $310 in just a couple hours. Yesterday's play was also awesome with GLD. That play went from $137 all the way up to $265, or yeah, it was just an insane pop up. Yesterday's play popped by 93%. Today's play popped by 112%. Of course, not every single play is like this. The bot has just been on fire lately, and it does a great job overall. So if you're looking for daily options alerts, check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. The bot is awesome. You can cancel at any time. You also get access to swing plays, custom bots you won't find anywhere else. You can chat with Tom and myself all day long and a bunch of other great traders and people. We have an automatic discount code running that will save you $41 off your first month. And on top of that, if you don't like it, you can cancel at any time, but you will not find our bot anywhere else. It's absolutely awesome at short-term options, day trades. And like I said, if you're into more of the swing trade style, we also have plays for that as well. The bot's awesome. Definitely check it out. Today's play went from 146 all the way up to 310. Again, it'll be that first link in the description in the comments down below. Besides that, Tom, do you have any final thoughts heading into tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm really glad with the way that the market moved today, actually post FOMC, I should say. It looked like we were going to actually continue down quite a bit today, but we ended up recovering and kind of holding our ground a little bit. It's still not looking too good heading into tomorrow, though. If we end up falling below this big 370 and 371 support on SPY, it's going to get pretty bloody. So watch out for a possible continuation to the downside, guys. I know we didn't really see that too much today, but I feel like that can definitely start creeping in here over the next week or so.
There we go. Tomorrow's definitely a big day. I'm very excited for DraftKings earnings. We all know how earnings are, very volatile, but it's a longer term play for me. But of course, I would like to see the stock pop. Then again, though, earnings are very crazy. I also want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, which is Bobby Digital in the StockedUp Discord group. You've been in the chat for over 2 years now, and your activity has definitely been increasing lately. So keep it up. It's awesome to have you in the chat. Last but not least, do not forget to check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. Our bot is absolutely awesome, and let's have an amazing end to the week.